You're listening to Business Lunch with Roland Frasier. This is your seat at the table.
Hey everybody, Roland Frasier here. Welcome to Business Lunch. I'm excited to have on the show today Brent Lob from Q Custom Clothing and Dawn Melon from The Savvy Stylist. Good alliterative name there for that business. I love it. And this is all about fashion, one of my and my wife's favorite things. And I know Deanna's crazy about fashion as well. And Dawn, you have the exact same name as my wife, so that's kind of fun. My wife's name is Dawn as well. So let's just start out and tell everybody who you two are and kind of what you do, and then we'll dive into the rest of the show. Let's start with Dawn.
Well, Roland, first of all, it's very nice to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you.
What do I do? My job literally is to make people look good. It's as simple as that. Mm-hmm. And how do I do that? I learn about them, about their business, about the image that they need to portray, and I help them make wardrobe choices that project the image that they need to show to their clients, constituents, whomever it is that they need to impress.
I love it. And so how are things changing now? Everyone I know is wearing sweatpants and pajama bottoms while they're doing all their virtual things. What's going on for you during the closure of the world?
Well, a good question. What's interesting about that is Karl Lagerfeld once said that it is a sign that a woman has given up on life when she puts on a pair of sweatpants. That's it. And so I thought, how prophetic that now here we are wearing sweatpants. I'm not, by the way. But interestingly enough, even though we are communicating like this because of the pandemic, there is a psychological condition that takes place when you wear the clothes that are appropriate for your setting.
Sure.
And even as it relates to Zoom calls and podcasts. So there is a professor at Knox University in Illinois, and he's done a study on this, short, but he says your body, your mind has a psychological, physical response to what you're wearing. And when you look like you're supposed to be in charge and be knowledgeable and be credible, then you are. And so right. My point is scrap the sweatpants and put on something that makes you feel and makes you project the image that you want, even though it's, via Zoom.
I like it. Brent, what's your take on that?
I agree. I mean, I think people today, the psychological advantage of dressing appropriately for meetings, anything that we do gives you a balance and an edge at that point. If you go in and you obviously feel good, you look good, you present good. I mean, that's what basically my business is all about.
Right.
Taking people from point A to point B and making sure they're properly dressed for events.
Okay, cool. And then just so I can get kind of, because I know you guys work together, so everybody understands. So Dawn, is it basically you have kind of an interview with somebody, you dive into their business, their just their persona, the brand, and say, these are the kinds of things, maybe these are the colors, these are the types of styles you want, and then Brent, you make those into reality through the custom shop, or how do you guys work together?
Dawn, go right ahead.
Okay, so to answer your question, it's really a twofold answer. We have clients that we work with together. And in those do that is absolutely the process that we go through, exactly what you described. In other cases, I may have a client separate from Brent, and I will go through the same sort of process, but it may be a woman. And Brent is not is more on the menswear side.
Brent is not a woman. Yes.
Yes. But then what I do is I reel in that woman's husband for Brent. So
okay, nice.
It all works together.
We love it, don't we?
I love it. So how did you get started in styling people, Dawn?
Oh my gosh, that is the $1,000,000 question. And what I'd like to tell you is some fabulous formula that could be repeated by all of your viewers so that they too could get into this.
Uh-huh.
But the truth is, it was luck, pure luck. I was selling a private label line of clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I was in actually a Bible study class with a woman who was so beautiful. Roland, she walked in the room the first day. I thought, oh, she was like the sun. Like I couldn't look at her directly because I thought my eyes, might be blinded for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And then somebody whispered to me and said, that's Emmett's wife. And I said, really? She said, yes. And she looked at me and she goes, you don't know who Emmett is, do you? And I said, yes, I do. He has a beautiful wife. That's who he is. So she asked me to help her start dressing her, because she said, and this is like one of those moments that lives on forever, but at the time you don't know how prophetic it is. She said, my husband is going to be on this program in LA, and I'm going to have to go and support him until he gets voted off the program. Do you think that you could help me with that? And I said, sure. What's the program? And she said, oh, you've probably never heard of it. It's called Dancing with the Stars. And I said, sure, I can help you. And from that point on, it was Pat and Emmett were my clients for a very long time.
Nice. This is Emmett Smith from the Cowboys?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Brent.
Nice. Okay. You met Brent through the show or through the Smiths?
Through Emmett, because he had been working with Emmett prior to my coming on board.
Oh, okay. Awesome. And so Pat said, hey, you should probably talk to Brent. Is that kind of how that happened?
Well, actually, Pat said to me, I think you should style my husband. And I had never worked with men before. I'd always been on the women's side, and I kept avoiding it. And then finally, Brent came along, and I said, Brent, I would like to do this, but I have no idea what I'm doing. And Brent said, come on over. I'll teach you everything I know. So
nice.
Come on over, baby.
Come on over to the dark side. And that is what really got me started. Brent literally taught me everything I know about menswear.
That's super cool. Well, so Brent, how did you get into this interesting line of work?
You know what? I started in this almost 40 years ago. I hate to say that. I've been doing this a long time. And the ironic thing is, the first job I ever had was selling men's clothes. And I got fired.
Nice.
when I was in high school. But I've always enjoyed this. It's, to me, I got my family was into Gingham formal wear franchises years ago. And then from there, I went to work for various clothing companies. One that was in Bigsby and Crothers in Chicago.
Okay.
One of the largest, probably in the 80s, one of the largest, most popular clothing stores. People like Michael Jordan were partners and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So I was in Chicago at the time, managing multiple stores for them. And then I came to Dallas, and I've loved it. I mean, Roland, I've done this for so long, but it's one of the cliche things that people say. I've never worked a day in my life.
Right.
And I literally love what I do. And I tell people, after all these years of travel and working and so forth, I play Santa Claus 365 days a year. So I'm one of those guys that's been blessed to really have a career that I've loved. And so I started off years ago doing that. I did get one of the big breaking points for me almost 30 years ago was to get Michael Irvin came in our store, the store that I was working for at the time. And so Michael, back in the day with the Dallas Cowboys, prominently known for his attire, mm-hmm. I had the pleasure of doing it, which then basically snowballed to Emmett, Troy Aikman, Michael, Darren Woodson, 20 or 30 of the Dallas Cowboys. And as they progressively went to different teams, I went to teams with them. So that was really the fun part. I mean, years ago when my business was very, I don't want to know what I'm going to say. It was just, we were getting in the game of this. Ball players were just starting to really take pride in their attire.
Mm-hmm.
I had 300 NFL players that I was clothing throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on planes all the time and doing all that, and just had some fun with some very elite ball players and CEOs. So I've really enjoyed this. I still do. And, that's basically my background. We've got my business partner and I in Q Custom Clothing. We have 8 stores now throughout the country. So that's been fun. It's also been, with this pandemic, has been a little challenging because all of our stores have been closed right now.
Right.
Actually, we will open back up. We've got the approval for all the stores coming up this Monday.
Okay, great. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
There's my little background in history.
I appreciate that. So, Dawn, what would you say are the most important things that a woman should be thinking about with respect to her personal style?
Good question, Roland. It's almost like you've done this before. Roland, the most important thing for a woman to consider when she is trying to, I don't want to say adopt a new style, because I never want to push somebody into something that they're not comfortable with.
How about discover her style?
Yes, discover her style. That's a good word.
I like it.
The first thing, I'm going to step back a little bit and answer a question that, or make a statement that may clarify what I'm trying to
Perfect.
And that is the word trust. Trust is the number one most important thing that I can deliver, that I can ensure in a relationship. And that goes with my clients, that goes with Brent, my constituents, my partners. First, I have to gain their trust. Yes. And gaining their trust sometimes means taking the style that they have created for themselves, good or bad, and tweaking it just a little bit, so that they see, number one, that I'm not coming in and saying, oh, we're ripping out the whole closet. You need a whole new wardrobe. I build trust with them by taking what they have that's good and building on it, and then making minor changes. Mm-hmm. And as those minor changes take place, what happens? They get recognition. Oh, you look great. Oh, are you doing something different?
Right.
The more that they hear that, the more that they come to trust me, and the more intoxicating that becomes. I want more of that. I want more people to say those things. And then we work on their individual look. So there is no formula for, okay, do this, do that, do this, because every person is so different, right? It's personal styling. So it's a very unique situation. But what's not unique is the trust that has to be there.
Okay, I like that.
And it's the reason that Brent and I work together so well.
So Brent, tell me, what's the difference between, say, a Briony or Tom Ford suit and a Q Custom suit? What would draw somebody to one or the other? What are the advantages and disadvantages of each?
I think when it comes to brand awareness, that's key. Tom Ford, Briony are synonymous with high quality. Mm-hmm. Do I think sometimes they're the best? No, I don't.
Right.
And I think it takes, they have a great product.
And good marketing.
What's that?
And good marketing.
Great marketing. I mean, Tom Ford, unbelievable marketing. And they spend millions of dollars to market themselves. And the difference between my quality, I have the exact same quality that they carry.
Right.
And so that there, it sets me in the different standards with those particular companies. So what I bring to the table is just basically, for me, quality fit. I mean, you've got to be able to master your product, and you've got to be able to, I've seen so many different body types in the 40 years that I've been doing this, and knowing how to look at you, Roland, and say, what are your wants? What are your needs? Do you want something that's a tighter fit? Do you want something that's, a little bit more relaxed, and so on and so forth? Find out their wants and needs. And at that point, fulfill them. And a lot of people that I work with, I travel to. Michael Burnoff, for example. I mean, I'm out in Scottsdale quite a bit because Michael loves my service. He trusts me. He knows the passion of my business and the integrity of it all. And I think that sets it apart. I mean, you go into these big box stores and you have great product, but you have to rely on an individual that you can have a relationship with and that you can trust. I think that separates me from those other clothiers that you mentioned.
Right. I love it. Okay, cool. And so Dawn, are there like 5 pillar pieces or key things that women should think about as like kind of defining their wardrobe or the bedrock of it that they really want to focus on when they get started thinking about this kind of stuff?
Yes, absolutely. The classics. So people say that all the time, right? And what are the classics? So for a woman, it's really a small group of pieces that will never go out of style. And you purchase them in colors that will never go out of style. So they're super exciting pieces. I mean, hold the presses. They are like a white blouse and a great white t-shirt and a great black blazer and a great pair of khaki pants and denim and pumps and flats. I mean,
don't leave out my handbags now. You got to have a good handbag.
You got to have a nice handbag, a little black dress, and you're ready to roll. But these are the pieces that everyone has to have in their wardrobe. And the only time that you replace them is when they become worn out, and then you just rotate. And then after that, you do the capsule wardrobe, right? So what is the capsule wardrobe? Everybody uses that phrase. I don't know that anybody really knows what it is besides like me and you, right? And Brent. And that is basically just taking a finite amount of items, of pieces, and selecting those pieces in colors and in patterns that you can mix and match. And so after you take your classics and your capsule wardrobe and you mix it together, the number of possibilities are literally endless.
Yeah, so that's great. So Brent, as far as when you get into custom clothing for men, how does one decide between, say, Q Custom and the Bond Street folks in London and the people in Tokyo and all of the other options that might be available to the sartorially curious?
You know how this works. It's interesting. I mean, you said Tom Ford earlier. For me, 100% of my business is built on referrals. I don't prospect. I don't do all those things that a lot of people do. It's Michael Burnoff turning me on to you. It's all referral based because at that point, that individual knows what they're going to gain from me. I mean, they're going to get all the things we talked about earlier, the trust factor, the integrity, but the fit. We have an abundance amount of fabric so we can select from. And we've also got different qualities of craftsmanship with also different price points. So there's nobody that I truly can't work with, but what they do get is somebody that's got 40 years of experience and really has taken the industry and really perfected my art, my craft. And that is basically using a tape and making sure that I know how to tape somebody. And the bottom line is the result, the final fit. I am more critical today. My tailors laugh at me. I'll bring something back and they go, Brent, why are you taking this sleeve up a 16th inch? Because it'll make it perfect.
Love it.
There's a real difference. I mean, there's so much competition out there today. But it's basically just like you and your business. You go to the people that you trust and rely on. And thankfully, that word about me has been, this guy's pretty darn good at what he does. Give him a shot. And then being able to maintain those people for 15 years. That to me is the key.
Yeah, I totally agree. So Dawn, you talked about incremental trust building, which I think is good. Did you want to comment on that one as well?
Well, I just wanted to say that Brent is, he sells two products. He sells a tangible product and he sells an intangible product. And the intangible product that he sells is as valuable as the tangible product. There is no one, and I can say this with absolute conviction, no one who provides the level of service and who has the integrity that this man does. And that is why he's been in the business for 40 years and why he, his client list reads like a who's who. So
love it.
I'd add that.
So we talked about incremental trust, and Brent just mentioned that referrals and word of mouth was important. I'm assuming that's true for you too, right? That most of your business comes from referral?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you want to dial up the referrals that you're getting, what have you found to be the best ways to generate referrals besides providing an amazingly high quality service?
Interestingly enough, what typically happens is that my clients are my referral cards. They're my business cards. Right. Because it's like people see my clients and say, I want a piece of that. What I want what she has. Mm-hmm. And that's how it happens. If I wanted to dial it up, as you were asking, all I would need to do is say, Susan, is there anybody you know who might be interested in my services? And mm-hmm. There's the list.
Do you find that any of your clients are hesitant to acknowledge that they are working with a stylist because they want people to think that they've done all this themselves?
No. But you know what I have found? I have found that sometimes people are have been hesitant to give my name to a friend because they want to keep this secret or this, the secret weapon they have to themselves. Yes. I had that it happened to me one time, and the way it came about was she said to me, oh, by the way, I just want you to know that I've had several friends who've asked me for your number, but I'm not giving it to them because you are mine. Okay, then, fine.
That's funny. I love it. Well, now, one of the challenges, Brent, I imagine that both of you have had through the years is scaling, because people like you, they bond with you, and you are somewhat the product and the brand. You've got, I think you said 8 stores now. How have you transcended that dependence on they can only have you?
That's a really good question due to the fact that I think people they have so much trust in me and they don't want to go anyplace else. I mean, I'm in a position right now with 8 stores and been doing this for so long. I want to be able to take some of these younger people today, if this makes sense, and mentor them, because there's not a lot of people today that take the pride and take the time to master their craft. And so as I get older, I mean, I'm not going to be doing this forever, but I want other people to have and hopefully embrace what I've had. Mm-hmm. So I look at that and say, okay, yes, they come in the store, and Dallas is a small town. And it's like Dawn and I, a lot of people know us and know about our services, our qualities, and all the things. So my goal right now is to embrace what I have, but now try and start mentoring other people in our stores to really master this. It's really interesting today that no matter what business, what defines you to be different than everybody else? And I think it's taking the talent or taking the time, to really perfect what you do and become the best. In my business, I look at it this way. Guys walk into the store, anybody can greet somebody in the store today. You walk into one of our stores, how you doing? You introduce yourself, so on and so forth. What might you be looking for? I'm going to go over here and look at a shirt, whatever. But when you take that individual to the mirrors, what I call, when you're really getting out to mat to show what your talents are and tape that person, most of the people today look like deers in the headlights. I mean, they're afraid. They don't know. Right. And
Right.
portraying that confidence when you take out a tape today, it basically takes you to a different level. I might get with you, and if I'm not a confident salesperson and I fly out to meet you and you go, this guy's not real convincing, he knows what he does, your buying skill could go from one suit or from 5 suits to 1, just like that, by pulling out a tape. So if you cannot take and show these individuals the confidence that you know exactly what you're doing, you're going to lose them. You're going to have to resell that garment when it comes in.
Right.
Because 6 weeks later, when the garment comes in and the guy puts it on, Roland, there's no better feel in the world. And this is why I say I play Santa Claus, to put on a suit on a guy and him go, whoa, this is absolutely what I've been looking for. And that takes time, and it takes, you have to have a talent. You're like an artist.
Right.
So take it in and master what you're doing, and the rewards will be phenomenal. Does that make sense to you?
It does, 100%. Thank you. I love that. So, Dawn, when is it right for someone to consider having a personal stylist? Like at what level of investment in both clothing and whatever service that might be? What part of their life or career or just, if you're talking to someone and say, I just don't know if I need one. When is it right, ideally?
That's, again, a really good question. So
I'm going to start interviewing people for a living here soon.
I was going to suggest that, but I didn't want to seem crazy. The question really, or the answer to that question is really, it has to do with what that person does for a living, and whether or not what they do for a living is something that is highly dependent on having an image to go along with it. So, for example, if I'm a chef and I'm wearing a chef's coat all day long and I'm in the kitchen, do you need a personal stylist? Probably not.
Although some of those chefs,
celebrity chef, and you're going on television, then yes, you need a stylist.
Right.
If you're somebody who is interacting with the public, if you are a public figure, if you are a corporate executive, if you're a salesperson, anybody who needs to really look the part is really somebody who needs a stylist. And that can be something as simple as, I create a wardrobe for you for one season, tell you how it works, and leave you to your own devices until the next season. Mm-hmm. Or that can be like some of my clients who are corporate executives, CEOs of large corporations, and I literally get their itinerary at the beginning of the week and put together all of everything that they need for the week. And all they do is pick, and go.
Nice. I like that. So at what income level, or actually probably better, what level of investment in the fashion and the stylists, but like where does that ideally begin for someone? Obviously you can go up, as high as you want, but when somebody's thinking, I really want to do this, I just am not sure how much should I be thinking I'm going to invest in my clothing that's going to, from the advice and the advice combined.
Another good question. So one of the things that I am very adamant about is that I do not take a commission from the clothes that I sell or the clothes mm-hmm. that I recommend. Mm-hmm. And I bring that up because I charge an hourly fee. Mm-hmm. Many stylists charge an hourly fee, and then they also get commission from the clothes that they sell. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, the investment in the clothing is going to be higher for the individual because why? Because the incentive there is for the stylist to recommend a higher price point garment. But I don't work like that. So I would say I would say that the ratio or the amount of money that is required in terms of an investment in the clothing with me is probably less, because I don't care if I found this fabulous garment at Neiman Marcus last call 40% off, or if I bought it at, Tom Ford. So answer your question.
I'm still looking for the people who are listening for just a guideline. It's like, should I be thinking this makes sense if I'm going to spend 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000? What level? Just so people are thinking, combined with your services and enough that would make it make sense. Because if you say you should have this, and this, and you're making fantastic recommendations, but they just don't really have what it takes. I'm trying to kind of help people who are listening or watching get that threshold. When is it good to reach out to someone who does what you do?
Yes. I think a minimum of $10,000. And the reason that I say that is because I'm assuming that this is somebody who maybe doesn't have a closet that has a lot of, salvageable items in it. And somebody who is going to need a new wardrobe for at least that season. And then we move on to the next.
Plus, it's really fun to have a new wardrobe. I mean, let's just be honest.
Super fun. Yeah.
And I'm assuming that includes like a free Birkin with every single deal, right? When I come in and I invest that $10,000, I get the clothes and then the complimentary Birkin and then your services. That's fair to ask, right?
And you get a small village of admirers, people who stand and walk with you every step of the way that say, "You look fabulous. Oh my gosh, where did you get that blouse?" Yeah,
I love it.
Comes with that.
Brent, thank you.
It up, I want a Birkin, right?
Brent, same question as far as for a gentleman that comes to you, and let's talk both on, because you have a retail shop and a custom shop, right? A branded shop. Okay. So for a gentleman who wants to come in, what does he need? Let's say that he's just like, man, I don't know style stuff. I'm interested in looking better, or my, Dawn referred me, or my spouse said I need to come to you, or whatever. What ideally do they have to get started with in terms of like how many pieces, suits, and budget, both for custom and for say retail, like just to do it right?
That's a great question, because I basically have a store, and then I also have a category where I travel. So they're basically two different companies. So let's say if you come to the store, I've got a lot of young guys today that are very fashionable to come in and say, "Brent, I want you to fit me for a suit. What does a suit cost?" Well, my starting price point is $1,500.
Okay.
So if I have to meet you at the store, I have no problem doing a $1,500 suit, shirts, whatever you want. And I'll ask you straight up, what is your budget? Because that's the most critical thing that you can ask somebody. Roland, if you and I get together and you and I are buying suits, one of the first things coming out of my mouth is, give me an idea what your comfort level is for a suit, what your budget is, and then let me go back with that budget and try and maximize what I can bring to the table. So if you go into the store, you can come in for $1,500, buy a suit, get a shirt. You're out the door for $2,000 with everything. But if I am going to travel to you and I've got to go to New York to meet you, and I've got a day of travel, airfare, and everything else, you and I are going to have a conversation about this and say, hey, I'm going to be incurring some expenses plus a full day of travel. What is your budget? And most of the time, if I do travel someplace, it's going to be like Dawn said, it's pretty much a 2 or 3 or 4 suit outfit perimeter guideline for that. And the individual knows that. They're not going to call me up and say, Brent, come out for a suit. But I will say this, if you were a client of mine and you said, Brent, I need a suit, and you're buying a $3,500 suit for me, I will come fit it, due to the fact that it's an expensive suit and there are little things that I see that I want to make that's perfect. If I ship you a suit and you get a collar roll on it, you're not going to know. But if I come to you and I see that collar roll, I'm going to take it and fix it. So again, that's what Michael Burnoff loves about me. Michael will buy now, since we've been doing this for 10 years, he'll buy 2 or 3 suits. He'll know what to expect.
Right.
I'll fly out there and I'll meet him. We'll select, get the garments, then fly them back out for a final fitting. If they fit, great, they stay. But if I have to do an alteration, I'll take it back to my tailors, who I have 6 master tailors. And then at that point, I'll put them in a big wardrobe stand-up box and ship them back.
Okay,
And
I love it.
for you, just because you're long distance doesn't mean I can't service you. Because if you call me later on and say, Brent, I've gained 10 pounds, your suit is not going to fit you the way it should. I'll get on a plane and fly out, and we'll take care of the alterations. Because
I think what would be more likely the case is that the suit shrunk in my closet because of the humidity of California. I don't know about what you're talking about, this gaining 10 pounds thing. That's
gaining or losing. Let's put it that way.
I'm just kidding.
But here's the interesting fact about that. A lot of my business is guys out of town like you. So you have to bring your A game every time, because you know out where you are, there's a lot of other guys that can do what I do. But the only saving grace for me is that you and I have a personal relationship. And you know what my expectations are, and I know what yours are, and we meet them. And it's not a 1-year deal and a one-time, it's a long-term deal. And that's where, getting back to what you said earlier also, a lot of guys today don't like to shop. And that's a big part of it. So they look at guys like me to say, hey, can you help me with this? And like I said, if it's a kid in the store or anybody and they want to buy a new suit, that's fine. If it's somebody long distance, that's also fine. I don't mind getting on a plane and doing it.
That's great. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it's interestingly enough, I'd say probably 85 to 90% of my friends do not like to shop for men or women. I am absolutely passionate shopper for both men and women. And so we go to New York and Paris and Milan and, you know, in particular also was really lucky to get to go to one of Karl Lagerfeld's last shows in Paris, where they turned at the what's the name of the place that do the shows? The Grand Musée. They turned the whole thing into a fall forest with trees and leaves on the ground. It was amazing to see like how that went. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's got to be made easy. And so I have lots of friends who are just, you know, look, make it as painless and as quick as possible, right?
That's the key. That's the absolute key today. Making it painless and just taking the pressure off of it. That's what it's all about. Okay,
two final questions. Same question for each of you. Dawn, tell me what. I have two ways I can ask this. I'm going to ask it this way. What are the top 3 changes that a woman could make to her style that would really have the greatest impact on her appearance and presence?
Number 1, to understand her body type. There are so many people who don't know their body type, don't recognize it. And in order to have the most flattering outfit, you have to know what your body type is and you have to dress for it. So
and is this endomorph, ectomorph kind of thing, or is this a different type? How does one go about figuring that out?
There's literally a process for figuring it out.
Okay.
Technically, but just generally speaking, body types are, if you have, for example, let's say you're a woman who has broad shoulders, you kind of carry your weight in your tummy. So we would consider that to be like an apple shape, or somebody like that who has a smaller shoulder but carries her weight in her middle. That consider that a pear.
Right.
And the ideal situation is that you always want to get to the ultimate body shape, which is the hourglass.
Right.
So what you do is you take and you choose clothes that create a waist for you if you are a pear, for example. So it's knowing what your body type is and taking the clothes or selecting clothes that complement your body type and get it to that ultimate hourglass figure.
Okay.
The second thing is knowing what your colors are, knowing what colors are appropriate for your skin type, for your hair color. Oftentimes, I have clients who I've worked with for a long time, and as I say, celebrate more birthdays, their skin tone changes, their hair color changes, yet they're still wearing the colors that they wore when their hair was brown and now it's going gray. So
Right.
you need to be really cognizant of that. So that, I think, is the second thing.
Okay, great. And do
then,
you like the fall, winter, spring kind of thing, or is there a color palette guidance thing that you suggest for people? Obviously, you've got the skill to do all the nuances, but just kind of a broad strokes color guide.
I wish that I could tell you that I subscribed to the fall, winter, spring, but I don't. And
yeah, that's okay.
I don't. And what I tell people is, if you're trying to figure out what your colors are, pay attention to the reactions that you receive when you wear certain colors. So if you wear blue and you see that people are complimenting you, then blue is a good color for you.
Right.
If every time you wear yellow, which, by the way, only 2% of the population can effectively wear yellow, and you receive no compliments, cut it out.
Right.
And
love it. So it's a feedback color guide. I love that.
Yes, it's a very interactive. Okay. It's like, as you said, being an artist. I don't know, but at the same time, I will say that when I do start working with people, I come up with a palette for them based on what I think, and that's how we get to creating the capsule collection, because it's based on that color palette.
Love it.
And then the third thing is really something that it is not a tangible item. It is the most important thing, though, that a woman can wear, and that is confidence. And when you take those things that I've just described, when you help a woman or a man wear clothes that are appropriate, that are flattering, that portray the image that that person wants to portray, inherently that confidence comes through. And that is the coup de grace, right?
I love that. I love those answers. Those are just absolutely fantastic. It's really, to me, the most impactful things, and the confidence is so huge. And if the other two help you get the third, and then you've got that, then yeah, that's really great. Okay, Brent, same question. Tough act to follow here.
So I'm going to go on a couple things that Dawn said. The body types to me are important, but I do think by asking the appropriate questions and having the ability to custom that product for them, I look at this a little differently, though. I want guys to get reactions. It's like what Dawn said at the end. I hope what I do will get you reactions from people on the streets or whoever, which then you'll get confidence. I like color. I mean, I like guys to go in and I like to put together unusual things, unless they're conservative, finding out what their wants and needs are. But I like guys to stand out. I mean, I like red coats. I like pink coats. I like bold pinstripe suits. Things of that nature, once it's perfectly tailored to that individual, they know they look good, they'll get reaction from it. So we can fulfill those needs of doing the basic blue suit and things of that nature. But guys know me for my creativity and putting unusual things together, that I kind of have this look. And so that's key for me. If I get a guy like you and you put on a suit, you got a smile on your face, you're going to exude that all day. And your confidence level is going to skyrocket. And the first time that you get a compliment, you know you've done the right thing. What I like about working with young guys today, the first suit guy, is the first time they put on that suit and they go around their friends, and the friends go, whoa, that suit looks great. There's that confidence level. It takes you from social events to the workplace to formal events, whatever it is. And I want my guys to walk in and look like $1 million. So to me, body types don't matter, because we can always find something to fit around that. Engaging and injecting colors and style, no problem. I had a gentleman in Chicago. I was one of the owners of Bigsby and Crothers back in the day. The gentleman was a very large guy. He probably weighed 350, 400 pounds. And the gentleman wore double-breasted suits every day. But you know what? That double-breasted suit was impeccably fit. So when he walked into a room, you're not supposed to be a double-breasted guy when you're that big. He walked in and it was impeccable and he felt comfortable in it. And I think that's what a guy like me brings to the table to a guy. We'll find the wants and needs, but once you have something that fits you, it just, your self-esteem goes up.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it really does. There's nothing like
I
the
can't
feeling.
wait to get with you someday, you know, and do our thing.
I'm in, absolutely. Well, speaking of getting with you guys, tell us what is the best way for people to get a hold of you. Dawn, how would people reach out who are interested in talking to you about their personal style?
Well, I have a website, and it's called appropriately Dawn the Savvy Stylist. So
Dawn the Savvy Stylist. Okay, great. .com.
Yes, .com.
Okay.
And
Nice.
then Instagram, Dawn the Savvy Stylist. Facebook, Dawn Melon the Savvy Stylist. So that's how.
Okay, great. Love that. And would they just message you from there if they were interested in knowing more? There's ways for them to get a hold of you there?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Any podcasts or anything like that you have?
Yes, this one right now.
Okay, great. I love it. Awesome. Brent, how about you? What's the best way for folks to get a hold of you if they would, when they would like to move forward and chat with you about their fashion?
You know what I would love? A personal phone call.
Okay.
Call me. My number is 214-912-4884.
Okay.
Or my email is brentlob, L-O-B, @me.com. So either which way, I love to talk to guys. So if you call me up, feel free. I'll answer the phone. You can actually go to our website at Q Custom Clothiers and look at our website, look at some of the design work we've done, and kind of get a feel for our stores.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show, and look forward to meeting you both in person.
Thank you, Roland. It was fabulous. Fabulous.
Awesome.
And thank you very much, Roland, for doing this. It was really fun to meet you.